Hey, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Catch That, where we talk in depth about albums, eras, labels. And I am naturally Elise, and that's my bro.
JR.
And we are the R&B representatives. And today we are welcoming a very, very good friend of the show and a very good friend of ours, Keith Murphy. Hey.
What's popping, y'all? How y'all doing?
Great. We're
Yeah,
glad to have you back.
Man. Glad to be back, Glad to be wanted,
Yes.
How about that? How about that?
Yes. And just to remind you all, Keith is an amazing journalist, writer, author, just, Renaissance type dude.
Checks in the mail.
But just a real knowledgeable guy about all things music, sport, culture, just and it goes on to politics, everything. So glad to have you back. And today we are going to be talking about an album that has an anniversary coming very, very soon. Dangerous by Michael Jackson.
Yes. Let's do it.
Yes, sir. Yes. So let's kind of go back. How do you remember feeling when it first dropped? And then we'll just kind of go into detail of the album after that.
Well, you got to remember, we heard all of this news of him working with Teddy Riley. That was the buzz, right? But what was I believe the first single was Black and White, right? Black or White, right? So that was like a curve pitch. Everybody was like, where's Teddy? Like they were talking about him doing New Jack Swing, and the video was cool, with the morphing, and it was groundbreaking and everything, and that was like par for the course, Mike. That's what you kind of expected, really, poppy, with a little, rock guitar stabs in and out. You just expected that from Mike. So it was kind of like a curve pitch. We were just waiting to see what happens. But once Remember the Time dropped, like everything changed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. So before Remember the Time came out, had you listened to the whole album yet? Had you heard it yet? Or did you just hear the single at that point?
See, you got to remember how they were releasing these things, man. Like, you remember they were just releasing the singles first. And then, the albums. It wasn't like they just dumped everything at the same time. That's how I remember it. Maybe somebody was able to get, a special copy, like a promotional copy or something of it. But I remember it that way. Then I remember, I believe I was in maybe my freshman year college over at Florida A&M. And I remember there was this area where it was like a hall area where people just watch TV. Every black school has that area where you can sit down and just watch TV. And I remember, once all the hype got on about him working with Teddy or whatever, they were going to do the world premiere of the Remember the Time video. And you remember back then, world premieres are like real world premieres. Like they huge. They had it on like straight up national TV, like your ABCs, your NBCs, your CBS. Like it was that type of world premiere.
Mm-hmm.
So people were like waiting for it. And then when we got hit with the whole Afrocentric, Egyptian, all black cast, Eddie Murphy, Iman, Magic Johnson, we got hit. It was just too much. Like it was almost like, and then the background dancers who became famous, Big Les, I believe Josie, with the braids. It was just so black. It was just like
blackity black.
Like blackity black. It was almost
Blickety,
like Mike.
blackety.
Right. Mike stepped out with like 30 African medallions and just, moving his head. That's how black it was. So we weren't expecting that from Mike at that time. Mm-hmm. And I think people felt like, oh man, he's finally come back. He's finally come back to us, So it was a real cool moment. I just remember that time in terms of the first time I saw the Remember the Time video itself. Because that's when everything connected.
I think that's what connected for me too, honestly, because I don't think I got the album to after Remember the Time, to be honest with you. I don't think I got it then, because I think it was because it came out Thanksgiving week or something like that. So I didn't get it then. I got it in 92 after Remember the Time, because I remember when that video premiered, like it was huge. It was like all over the place. And I just remember I just remember the end where he was spinning and then
into the goal,
to the sand, to the goal, And I was just like, whoa. I was like, Ma, I want this album now. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, and then it was a lot of people doing like interviews and stuff back then. And I remember them interviewing Salt and Pepper back then. And they was like, we finally got Michael back. We got him back. Because we felt like we lost him with Bad and all that kind of stuff. So everybody was like, yo, we got Michael back. He got us a groove. And everybody was hyped. So it was like, BT was loving it. It was like, it was a moment. I just remember that. So that crazy. That was a blackity ass video. Like, it couldn't get no blacker than that.
And it's so wild, you know, Alicia Gerard, that you got to put this in the context of what was happening, right? Like Mike drops his album. Prince I believe he's about to drop Diamonds and Pearls. And I believe Whitney has already dropped I'm Your Baby Tonight. So you saw what was happening. They saw what was happening. They were like, we can't continue doing what we were doing. Like in Prince's case, he just did whatever he wanted to do. He did Blackity Black, Adore, you know, whatever. But he saw, like, man, like, R&B is just killing it right now. And it's selling a lot of records. And people will no longer have to, I'm going to put the R&B song out to the charts, and I'm going to do this pop song. I'm going to release them together, different formats, and send them to the radio station. Like, that was dead. That was dead. You had to come out straight up with some hardcore R&B, whatever it was. And I think, you know, when Whitney got Face and LA on her side, and Prince started to do the, you know, New Power Generation, adding the rappers, and Mike started hanging out with Teddy. That was the sea change. You saw it happening in real time.
Like, Keith, I wanted to ask you something too, because I feel like when I try to put this together, I feel like when Michael didn't win anything at the Grammys when he did Bad, do you feel like that was more of Michael felt some type of way? Because I always feel like that moment was like Whitney's moment at Soul Train when she got booed. It was kind of the change of them artistically and everything. And I felt like Michael, because I mean, he should have won something at them 88 Grammys. I mean, something. I mean, he had the best album with Bad. The best album of the year, had 5 number ones from it. You thought he was going to win something, and to sit in the audience and not get nothing, I felt like maybe he felt like I crossed over to them. I'm there. I thought I'm in. And then I felt like, to me, I felt like Black or White was kind of talking to them. I felt like, maybe I'm wrong, because I felt like this album was very aggressive and Mike had a lot to say. So
no, that's an interesting thing. Maybe that was his, you know, quote unquote, like F you Whitey, you know. Maybe that was his way of saying that. But you got to remember, at the same time, he's like box office or bust with him, right? Like, if it's not selling albums, if it's not going number one, if the song's not getting played on the radio for him 24/7, then that is just a disappointment. That's a failure. And Bad checked all those boxes. But you got to remember what, you know, that year was. You got to remember how crazy that year was. That was 88, right? The 88 Grammys.
Yeah.
That's Sign of the Times. That's Joshua Tree. That's like a lot of stuff happening at that time. So Mike, his style of music during that time was still killing the masses, but it was almost like, you know, we've seen this before, Mike. And not only have we seen this before, but you even taking the blackness out of it even more with this album. Because I think the Thriller split the difference. It was brilliant how he did it. You didn't really even notice it, you know. But yeah, like it was tough. It was a tough situation for him, and I just think that Mike and I said this before, and I'm going to get into the whole Teddy Riley angle when they're hanging out and when they're working on the stuff and how it all went, how it all came together. Q-tips involved too, craziness. But really, when it's all said and done, it's really about Mike kind of like picking up a billboard, having his ear to the streets, figuring out what's the hottest thing. And Mike was obsessive with that. Whatever was hot, he wanted to work with. So when Run DMC was hot, he did a song with Run DMC. When Dr. Dre was hot, tried to do a song with Dr. Dre. Like whatever is hot at that time, he's like, I want some of that. So that's what happened with Teddy. He knew that Bobby Brown was killing it, Guy was killing it, Keith Sweat was killing it, and he was like, give me some of that. You know, it doesn't matter who you are. If you're killing the charts, he wants to work with
you. Cause then when him and Quincy was doing bad, then Quincy kind of knew that he wanted a little bit more hip hop into it, and Mike didn't want that because he felt like it was a fad. Because according to Quincy, he didn't want no hip hop on bad.
Yeah, well, Quincy says a lot of things, you know.
Okay. That's
I don't know. I believe some things Quincy say. There's other things Quincy say. I'd be like, oh man, that's just Quincy being Quincy.
Okay.
But, from what I heard, Teddy says that Mike was interested in having him on an album because you got to remember, '86. This is when they're working on the album. This is when Keith Sweat starts, you know, when that album just starts getting played and all over black radio. Right. So he already had his ear to the streets early on. And he said that Mike kind of wanted to work with him, but the label stuff just didn't really match up. This is what Teddy said. You got to take Teddy's word for it. I don't.
Yeah. But I can kind of more believe that though.
Yeah.
That's very plausible.
Yeah, no, it's possible. It's possible, but
because he was the new kid.
Yeah, he's a new kid, but Quincy's right 99.9% of the time about stuff. It's just that when you can tell that when he's like ornery and he's like really, you know, got a little beef, he'll go beyond the call.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But he's usually right about stuff, so I would not be shocked at that because Mike was doing songs with rappers back then. Mike was working with, you know, had tracks that he never released with Run DMC. This anti-drug song that they did together. So yeah, I would not be surprised at that at all.
I always wondered that because I always wondered because I always think for me, I'll be like, all right, Mike wanted that cross over to the world with Thriller. Then once he got there, it was like, all right, I'm back. It's bad. I want it to be another contemporary so everybody can love it. You know what I mean? Even though like me and Elise talk about, it's like bad. It seems flat. A lot of the songs are very flat. You know what I mean? But it was like in the videos, Michael still wanted to keep it gangster. If you know what I'm saying, like the Way You Make Me Feel video. He in there with Crips. You know what I'm saying? Then he got, you know, not Smooth Criminal, the Bad video. He got Wesley trying to, you know what I'm saying? Like acting like he going against them. You know what I mean? So Michael always wanted to kind of keep it there. But I thought when he went to Bad, it was like, all right, I'm there. I'm going to give y'all that 80s pop album that you want. Right. And you know what I mean? And then boom, it was like, nah, Michael, you already did that. We're going to somebody new. And that's why I thought with Dangerous, he was like, oh, y'all gonna play me like this? I'm coming aggressive on y'all ass. Like, all right, this is what we doing? Okay.
Also, I also think it was a case of a lot of the videos being better than the songs. Like, as much as people love Smooth Criminal, you listen to it by itself, you know, it's a cool song, it's all right. That video comes on, oh Lord, man. It's like, it goes somewhere else. It's almost the same with Bad in terms of that. Bad is not really a great song. It's probably might be his worst single during his prime era. The video,
I agree.
yeah, the video is kind of laughable. You know, it has not aged well at all. But the point is that Mike could do whatever he wanted to in that period. He was winning, and I think what happened was he just saw. I mean, let's be honest. Janet started kicking his ass. This is what happened. This is
period.
Janet was kicking his ass. Janet was making some black ass pop music.
Yeah.
Janet had Heavy D in her video. Janet, everything that he started doing, he did it after her in terms of
he did
supporting the black New Jack swing era type of thing. He saw what she was doing, and he was like, "Holy God, my little sister is kicking my ass on her own terms with the hottest production duo, and she's doing it like with cool people hanging out with her. You know, like she's heavy. You see Heavy D in the video. That's a statement. That's like not. She's trying to tell people, oh, you don't know about this? You don't know about this? Yeah, they might be the most commercial hip hop group, but you still don't know about this. Check them out.
Right. Right.
So yeah, that was Mike seeing what Janet was doing. And on the other
end, you can definitely see that on Dangerous. The first 6 songs, it's like, Mike, come on.
He's not even playing around with it.
And then in
what'd you say?
And then in 1992, Janet even had a #1 in 92. Like, oh, just popping by.
Yeah, like Janet had her finger on the pulse of black culture.
Yeah.
From like 1987 to the Janet album that came out, what was it, 1993? He was just, everything was just perfect. Everything was just perfect.
Everything was working for her. Yeah.
Because not only did Janet, she got a #1 in 92, and it was on the soundtrack. It wasn't even on the album.
Right. How about that? But yeah, I just think that it really all comes down to Michael having a vision of, I want what's hot, I want what's aggressive, I want what's cool. And he was brilliant at finding that. And he saw Teddy. He calls Teddy out of the blue. Teddy's at Q-Tip's studio in Manhattan somewhere, a small studio.
Yeah.
And he's working on Jane Childs, I don't want to fall in love. He's working on Guys, Dog Me Out. And he's working on an early demo of Remember the Time before even Mike calls. He's just working on a song, you know, just the framework of it. And Mike gives him a call. He doesn't believe it, of course. Doesn't believe it's Mike. Mike, you know, does the Mike thing. You know, like, I'm gonna have everything set up for you. You know, bringing up limos and cars and bringing them to the crib. And you know, Teddy walks in, sees a chessboard that has like gold and silver chess pieces, and he moves one, and next thing you know, Michael appears behind him, putting his
hell no.
Shit. And Teddy literally falls down, like
what too?
And Mike's laughing. Mike's just laughing his ass off, and Teddy figures out later that Mike has all of these secret doors, secret like fireplaces and doors that, you know, in the studio where he can just leave and go. And he tells that story of he's playing some of the songs that he has. I think he's on the 5th song. And Mike said, go back to that song. And Mike is shocked because he's never heard a song open with a church chord for him. That song is Remember the Time. That's church.
Yeah.
And he's like stuck on that. He's just completely stuck on that. He's like, what is that? Makes Teddy go back into the room where the piano is, play that chord, because he's only used to these like C major chords, and you know, he's not used to like the really gospel chords, and he was just stuck on that. He said that's what really drew him to that song, was the opening, because the opening just smacks you, hits you in the face.
It does, yeah.
Like, it does not even give you any time to breathe. Like, you're just
right.
you're like wondering what the hell, you know? So Mike,
it goes from the church organs to a groove straight.
Yeah.
Right into it.
Church organs.
Yes.
So Mike caught on to that really heavy. And next thing you know, they're just working on, you know, jam. You know, they're working on, you know, in the closet. They're working on, you know, Drive Me Wild. They're working on all these songs. And, you know, Teddy's like, it is the hardest thing in the world working with an artist like Michael Jackson, who is a perfectionist. But at the same time, he's Michael fucking Jackson, which means that you got to make some world-beating music.
Yeah.
You know, you got to make some shit that's going to hit the charts.
Right.
So, you know, to Teddy's credit, he said, I didn't come in here thinking that I was going to make a pop record with him because he knew what I am. He knew what I brought to the table.
Right.
But I understood what was hot and what was on the charts and why my sound was resonating with people. So I gave him some of that, and I took back some of Mike's stuff too. I incorporated the Mike-ness and my stuff together, and then you have a song like, you know, I Can't Let Her Get Away. You know, that's this is straight. That's like pure Michael Jackson, Teddy Riley Has a Baby.
Yes.
That song is like the best of both worlds. Like you're getting the New Jack Swing thing, but then you're also getting that propulsive, you know, early 90s Michael Jackson, where he's like just grunting and just hard and just, you know, and then he goes soft with the little, you know, bridge, and then he goes hard with the chorus. You know, that's pure Mike. So I think that song is brilliant. Keeping in the Closet, of course, is just top tier Mike. You know, that's like insane.
Yeah.
So groundbreaking. So yeah, there was some things going on at that time, and Mike was in the middle of it, and he knew what he wanted.
I could imagine just being in the studio when they were doing Can't Let Her Go, because I know Mike was in there sweating and going in. Like, I could imagine him just dancing to that record. Like, I could just imagine, because Mike is that type.
He danced in the studio while he was recording. You know that, right? He had to dance. Like, he just didn't sing. Like, he had the way the studio set up. He had to dance at the same time, or at least dance a little bit while he was singing. If he didn't dance while the track was on, the track wasn't no good. He had to, like, it had to make him want to dance.
Yeah. Oh, I know he was
like,
going.
Singing and dancing his whole life.
Yeah. So he was going crazy with that, and I think it's so funny how, you know, like, everybody still talks about Prince and Mike Prince, but it's so funny how, like, you know, Frank DeLeo, who was Mike's manager back then, just was brilliant and like on some Colonel Tom Parker shit for Elvis, like just knew what Mike needed, right? And when Prince saw what he needed to do with the Diamonds and Pearls album, who does he call? He calls Frank DeLeo. Frank DeLeo is his new manager. Like, they're like playing, there's a secret war going on between these two. People don't realize it. It's like a Cold War that's happening.
And coincidentally, or not so coincidentally, Diamonds and Pearls is what Not Remember the Time had a #1 in R&B charts.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a weird thing between us.
Holy
you know, like
shit.
It's they're two most blackest album projects at the same time. They both had success with it, you know, like I think Diamonds and Pearls was sold 5 million and 7 million or something in the States, and Dangerous ends up selling a gazillion, and then overseas, I think altogether like 25, 30 million copies or something like that. So yeah, it's you know, both of them tore off for those albums, you know, both of them R&B radio just embraced both of those albums.
Yeah.
But the thing about Dangerous is that it is Mike's sort of last hurrah as a can't do no wrong pop star.
Yep.
Then after that, he got into his own head with things, you know, things just started to happen. But before that, man, he was, you know, he was an open collaborator, and he just wanted to work with people that were just hot.
I think it was also smart for him to actually start off, because a lot of people be like, well, why didn't he start off the album with Remember the Time or In the Closet or something like that. I don't think that was the best thing anyway, because I also feel like I always think you should start the new album with something that was familiar from the last album.
Right.
And the last single off of Bad was Leave Me Alone.
Right.
So it was like, okay, that's a little rockish. Okay, cool. But you with Black or White, it had a kind of groove to it. It was something different, but it still was like, okay, this is Mike coming back, cool. So then that second single was Remember the Time. It was like, boom, Michael, like, here we go. Now this is where the shit starts. Like, I'm bringing it. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people arguing, I be seeing on like forums and stuff, like, you'd be like, man, he should have started with Remember the Time. Maybe the album would have did better than what it did. I'm like, 30 million copies ain't bad either. Like, are you serious? Like, I mean, what better could Michael have done? Because I think if he would have started Remember the Time, it wouldn't have rocked the way it did. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, he kind of got the poppy stuff out the way and let the album, all the other singles be completely black.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
like
I think that's what he wanted.
It's so funny that you mentioned that. It's like, I think the whole 30 million thing, the record sale chase that he was on, the record sale high that he was on, but he was always chasing record sales. I want to do better. I want to demolish Thriller. I want to demolish Thriller. I think that really took a toll on him. I really think that took a toll on the art later, and I think that he just really couldn't enjoy it for what it was. Like, he just enjoy the fact that you're making cookout music now, right? You're making like music that we're going to be listening to, you know, beyond it just being a hit. We're just going to be listening to it and jamming to it for years. So I just thought it was a really cool period. It's my third favorite Michael Jackson solo album after Off the Wall and Thriller. I like it more than Bad. And I've said that online, and I've gotten rid of, you know, the hardcore MJ fans be coming at me like, you know, how would you say that? Blah, blah, blah. But it's just a better album than Bad. It's just more cohesive. It's more of its time, and it's still listenable, as opposed to Bad being of its time and sound a bit outdated, because the 80s production for a lot of artists kind of wears thin when you're listening back to some stuff, not all stuff, but some stuff. So yeah, it's a landmark album for me.
Yeah. So speaking of dated, a lot of the Dangerous doesn't sound a bit dated because of the New Jack Swing.
See, this is what I think.
Oh, we getting she's starting already. Okay.
I think New Jack Swing has been able to have a great shelf life because of the funk aspect of it. Like, you're listening to the production, and you're listening to the actual beats itself. Yeah, it's kind of like old hat. But then when you're listening to the groove is the groove. I don't care whatever you're playing, whether it's like Sam Cooke or Aretha Franklin or whatever. If it's a groove, it's a groove. And Teddy's groove, especially during that period when he was just in his zone, from like 89 to like 91, 88 to 91. I still love that sound. There's like a song like She Drives Me Wild is a little outdated.
Okay.
Only because it's robotic.
Right.
It doesn't have Teddy's full swing on it. Right? All those other songs has like Teddy's heartbeat on it, and you can tell. That song was Mike saying, I have this song in mind, Teddy, and I want you to produce it. And it just seemed like it was more Mike on there doing, you know, the robotic things that he tended to do sometimes with some of his music, which worked somewhere on some joints, like what was the joint he did on Bad? Speed Demon. You know, it worked on Speed Demon. You know,
oh yeah,
it didn't work on that. Not a bad song, but when you compare it to the other songs that it's like a tier or two below.
Because because when I was listening to it today before we were talking, if a lot of the productions for me felt clunky, even for New Jack Swing. Like it was because you have Michael Jackson here, it just was so loud.
That's what it was. That's the word. Loud. Industrial.
And there
It
was
was
a couple
industrial.
songs to where it could have left the Teddy flavor on it, but a couple of songs, if I could have just had one real guitar in it.
Right, right.
Like either it could have been acoustic or electric guitar, which would have more matched Teddy. Like I needed that. I needed a little more texture and not just like God. Like I need a little finesse. Yeah. And Teddy knows how to do finesse. He did Remember the Time.
Yeah.
It's Teddy. But it's such a finesse. It's like he was able to get his sound and let the singer shine at the same time.
It's Mike. You got to remember, it's still Mike, and this is the era. I call this era military soundtracks. and
yeah.
Mike is the dude in the studio envisioning himself leading an army of people as he's performing his song. Like he's dressed. You saw those images of him in like these far off countries where they're like building statues for him, and he's wearing military garb. He's wearing that. Like, you know.
Yeah.
But he's wearing military garb. In his mind, this is what his mind state was. His mind state was, I'm going to a soundtrack for the world, and I'm going to beat the world with my music. But I want to beat them so they can join me. I want them to join me. I want everybody to hold hands and join me in singing this song. Like this is Mike. So yes. All of that stuff you're talking about, that's part of 90s Mike. That's when he starts, getting to, and by the History album, he's full.
He's there.
With the gold thing,
the
gold crotch thing, and all of, he's full military.
Yeah.
Garb on that one in his mind state. So yeah, that was Mike's production bag style a little bit during that period. Very staccato, very in and out, very, like very, like he's jabbing you. Everything's a jab, So yeah, that was Mike's thing. Yeah, that was Mike's thing. This is when Mike starts like scatting a lot too. Like this is the scatting era.
Yeah.
Mike really starts to like singing on those songs. He's screaming and he's singing at the same time because he's pissed off. There's a lot of shit happening in his life.
Yes.
And he's angry.
Yes.
He's angry at, the allegations that's happening. And those allegations were troubling for a lot of people. A lot of people was like, that's a wrap for me, for Mike. I don't want to listen to him because of the child molestation allegation. And then there was also him thinking, a lot of the white executives were coming out against me. They weren't, they were not pushing me the way that they used to push me.
Mm-hmm.
And they're angling for my catalog. They're angling for the songs that I own.
Right.
And, he starts working with like Spike Lee. After that album, he's like, they don't care about us song, and he's in Brazil. And like, there's a lot of stuff happening.
There's a lot of blackity black stuff happening post this.
Right. A lot of, because it's the come back to Jesus moment when you figure out that, hey, maybe these people might not have my best interest at heart.
Boom.
You always come back home. Whitney
That's
came
right.
back home. Prince came back home. Mike comes back home.
Janet
never had to come back. She was always home.
Because she never left.
Always had the edge. Yep.
But
she never left us.
Yeah,
nope.
It happens, man. And when it happens, it's hilarious. You can spot it. You can see it. You can say, yeah, you coming. It's your nigga wake up moment. Oh, I see this.
What when you say nigga wake up call?
Yes, nigga wake up call, nigga wake up moment, whatever. Somebody was like, oh shit, I'm really a nigga in this country. Okay, let me go off and do my thing. And then, next thing you know, you have, Mike doing this, FU thing, and Prince doing this FU thing, writing slave on his cheek. I mean, it's just craziness happening.
Yeah.
So, Whitney's on some like, I'm gonna marry fucking Bobby Brown and F y'all. Like there's a lot going on in that period, man. So, yeah.
And what was wild was that we got to see it in real time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just like
you were old enough to understand it.
Yeah, and you got to see when it was happening. It was like, they done got they nigga wake up call. Like they all got it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like Whitney had got it, then Prince got it, then Mike got it. It was like, whoa, these are like our top tier artists, and it's like, they all touching this new jack swing, because you would have never expect Whitney to do something like that. You've been like, why is she working with LA and Face? She ain't gonna stay with Northern Michael Warren and all them. You know what I'm saying? Like she comes to LA and Face, Michael comes to Teddy, and then Prince does the new generation joint. So it's like
generation thing. With the rappers. That's the important thing. He incorporates the rappers, which the last decade
with female gospel vocals.
Right. In the last decade, Prince was on some, kind of leery at hip hop. He was looking at hip hop kind of side eye. There's the story of Wendy and Lisa coming to Paisley Park, and they have a tape of Public Enemy's "Fight the Power," and they pop the tape in, play it for Prince, and Prince is like, it just disrupts his whole thing. It just, you can see the look on his face, like he just knows my time. If I, like, I don't know what to do with that. Like that's, he would become a fan of, friend with Chuck, and he's a fan of P. But at that time, it just fucked his head up. So he was not ready for hip hop. But then in the 90s, he has these rappers, and they were horrible. Tony M was horrible.
Thank you. I'm glad somebody said it.
Yes.
Horrible rappers.
Oh.
But he has them. And they're on one of his, few of his biggest hits on that album.
Yeah.
So it's connected. Mike, Whitney, Prince, the nigga wake up call is connected.
Yeah. Because and then for this, I just like this album because if you look at Michael's albums before this, he was never that personal to me. You never got to know Michael as a person. You always knew like the charities he did, and he was all about the children and all this, but you never knew how Michael as the person in his artistry until we got to Dangerous. Like we got to him talking about Jam, talking about, was he talking about the Jehovah's Witnesses in that one? Because he always talked about the temple and this and that. And I'm like, is he talking about them? Because I know it was a time after Thriller, they didn't like that. And they wanted to kind of get him out of there. You know what I'm saying?
Well, he's a former Jehovah's, he was a former Jehovah's Witness anyway. So
Oh, okay. Okay. So by that time, he was like, whatever.
He didn't really care about anything.
Okay.
But he was, like you said, he was very personable on a lot of that stuff. He started singing about, he got really paranoid with it, right? He started thinking a lot of people were against him. And in a lot of cases, it was true. But it made from some really good art, he was always kind of on a paranoid kick, even with Billie Jean, even if a song like that, where you don't know if that really happened, but he was a paranoid dude on that. Like there's some things going on. He was not, he could not sleep at night.
It's a very paranoid video, actually.
Yeah, very paranoid. Paranoid. So he's always kind of made that type of music, but with Dangerous and especially History, it just went.
History. He was there.
Went up to a whole nother level.
History was the big fuck you. For real. I don't care. This one was kind of like, I wanted Michael to give the F after this. Like I wanted him to like, and like when you hear like, why you want to trip on me? Because he like, it's so much shit going on in the world, and y'all worried about me. Y'all trying to worry about me. Exactly. And I just wanted him to be like, fuck you at the end. Like I wanted Mike to do that. Like I thought that shit would have been dope, like at the end of the record, like kiss my ass, like something like that, like adding something. I thought that'd have been dope, but Mike still tried to be nice because he wanted to heal the world. So I get it.
Yeah. So let me take. I want to talk about what is one of my favorite songs on the album, and it also was a #1 R&B. Was "In the Closet."
Mm-hmm.
That's such a good song, and I'm like, you got the heavy New Jack beats, but it was just in spots, and it was in the right spots. It wasn't the whole song. It was layered. It was strategic use of it, and you still and you got to hear just pure Michael vocals. Like there's part of the song where it's hardly any music in the background, you know. So
and then the video, man, come on, like
the video,
the black and white video, like Mike. I swear to God, Mike just was like, I'm gonna go black with this, and I'm gonna have a black and white video. Like it's just like he's like not even like. It's like I don't even know what the suits were saying at that time. I don't know because I would gather that they weren't too worried because R&B has started like selling like gangbusters. Started doing really well on the pop chart. People weren't really having to play the game anymore that much.
Yeah.
And by like '93, it just the dam just broke open, and everybody was like R&B was everywhere. So I don't know if the suits were too worried about it, but that "Keep It in the Closet," man, that song is genius. Like that's like I always say when people talk, "What's the greatest Michael Jackson song of all time?" That song is in my top 10 all time.
Oh yeah.
And it might even be top 5. I mean, that's how ingenious it is. Like you said, Elise, it's kind of like it's a fake out. You're thinking you're going to get a New Jack Swing thing, and then it turns into like some, you know, like this weird percussive African type of thing going on. And then when the chorus hits, New Jack Swing.
Yeah.
There's your New Jack Swing. But then we're going to flip it, you know? So it's to me, that's like the perfect union. I mean, we could talk about Remember the Time being the apex and everything. But production-wise, just pure the combination between those two, the collaboration between Mike and Teddy, Keep It in the Closet is top shelf.
Yeah, and that, oh man, that's such a great song.
It really is. Lyrically, it's great too. Like people don't really realize lyrically how good that song is because he's trying to make the case that, you know, this girl is on my tip and I you know, she really wants it, but at the same time he's trying to be discreet, she's trying to be discreet, and it keeps the balance of like Mike, you know, badass Mike, and then Mike, oh no, you know, keep it discreet. Like it keeps the balance of the two, and it's like it's brilliant, you know.
And it doesn't follow any like song structure rules at all. Like it just does. It's like we go on, like you said, we gonna come in hard, and then we're just gonna give you a bridge right now. But then we're gonna give you a chorus that sounds like a bridge, but it's actually a chorus, but kind of sort of not.
Right.
Exactly. You know, it's brilliant all the way around. I remember me and my friends listening to it, and we were like, we're gonna take back everything bad we said about bad. We're gonna take back everything we said about Mike shut us all up. Like shut me up, shut up a lot of people, shut up a lot of program directors, radio program directors that was kind of shitting on him at the time.
Yeah.
Got a lot of people up. And as much as Teddy had a huge play in that, gotta give props to Mike for having the humility to working with him and still understanding that he still had to be Mike, right? I still got to be Michael Jackson. So those songs, lyrics, you know, he's writing the lyrics to those songs. You know, he's still helping out certain portions of the production with Teddy. He's telling him what he wants, what he doesn't want, and it's still Mike being Mike, but he just sounds free. He sounds unburdened. He sounds like he does not have to open up a billboard and say, I don't hear a scene. You know, he's not even that frame mind. The hits are just happening because they're just great songs.
Right.
He's not thinking you know, it's not even like, oh man, should we even release Keeping in the Closet? Doesn't sound like it's going to be playing in, you know, in Spain or somewhere, right? He's not even thinking like that. He just understands that it's hot, and I'm going to release this hotness to y'all.
Like he knew, like you say, you knew when you hear these songs, like you knew they were singles. Like it felt good. Like you knew In the Closet was a single. You knew Remember the Time was a single. You knew Jam could be a single. Like you knew all these songs could be singles. I mean, why you want to trip on me? No, not a single. I mean, as much as I love Can't Let Her Get Away, that's not a single either. Like,
well, that's a great deep album cut.
That's a deep cut, right? That's
like one of those songs that you like. Oh shit, you're not up on. You talking about that, but you got to listen to this. That's one of those songs.
Yo, brought Twitter to the world. You right, Keith.
Right. That's one of those songs. I used to tell people like, man, y'all on that Remember the Time shit. You got to listen to this. Mikey snapping. And I play this shit, and they always like, oh man, Mike snapping on that shit. Oh, you know. So yeah.
That's a snob track.
Yes. Very much so.
Oh, okay. So as much as I love, because this is actually my second favorite Michael album, honestly.
Oh, wow.
But I do feel like it does have some flaws.
He has some opinions about the previous two albums.
You talk. Yeah.
He has some opinions.
Yeah, Bad. I already said about Bad. Everybody know how I feel about Thriller. Like, no.
Oh, wow.
But
you're one of those. You're one of the Thriller deniers. You guys are out on the island, man.
I'm on the island by myself. I don't even know that album as an EP.
Jesus. That's bold, man. We got to check your DNA, man. We got to see what's going on, man. If you was left at a doorstep or something, that's bad, man. That's whoa.
I don't need no four.
No pun intended. That's bad.
I know, right? No pun intended.
Right.
Jeez. You know, I love that. I get it. I get what you're saying.
It's just with this, I always, because I was having a conversation with, it might have been my mom, I think, and Mia was going back and forth, and she always felt like it was, as much as she loves Teddy, because she loves Teddy, but it felt like it's a little overproduced. Because, and I was like, and I started to think what she meant, because it's like, okay.
We had another guest say that too.
You're petty. You are very weak right now. You're very weak now.
I mean, the video's out, so it's not like it's a secret.
Oh, true. Brian said it. Yes.
Brian Alexander Morgan.
Wait. Brian said that Dangerous was overproduced.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, that's
with his chest.
See, I would have said Bad was overproduced.
Oh no.
No,
we said that was thin.
Yeah, he did say that was thin, but he said he felt like, Dangerous is overproduced because and I kind of thought about it today, and I'm like, when we think about Off the Wall and we think about Thriller and we think about Bad, right? We think about Mike. That's the first thing you just think about him. But as soon as we get to Dangerous, it's like, oh, yo, this is Teddy's album. This is Teddy, even though Teddy did damn near half of it, but it's like, that's who you think about. And he was like, some of the production is like, this sounds like, because Michael used to always be able to carry a record.
Right.
He felt like Teddy's production carries, and Mike kind of fits in where he fit in at. You know what I mean? It's kind of like...
I can see that, but that's only because how powerful that sound was at the time.
Right.
I don't think that's an indictment on, Mike. I just think that sound was just, it was such a signature sound that you couldn't help but think of Teddy when you hear it.
That's true.
Teddy was at that time was so. I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
At that time, and Teddy was just, you think about it, about in the zeitgeist of it. Teddy was so huge, and that was the pervasive sound of Black radio.
Like you said, like he said, from 88 to about 92, Teddy was on fire. Like,
and you have to think about at that time. Now it was some bad songs with some of our legacy artists, some of our other legacy artists besides Prince and Michael, were trying to do New Jack things, and it didn't curl over.
It didn't curl over quite right.
It's
yeah.
like, you know, you can't think of those songs because they came and went, you know, went as fast as they came. So.
No, it's true. But let me name one song though that's my sleeper, and I always go back to it. It's not a Teddy song, and it's Mike kind of like getting into his his rock thing again, right? And when I always play "Give In to Me," the one thing that I'm reminded of is it is the most authentic Mike rock song that he's ever
made.
It is like when you're listening to it, you're like, I could actually picture like Axl Rose singing over this. I could picture somebody from Def Leppard singing over this. Mm-hmm. That's how genuine it sounds. So I love that song, man. Like I love the build up. I love the lyrics. I love Slash on the guitar on there. Like he's well in the way. It's crazy what he's doing towards the end of that song. He's just lost his mind. And I just think that it's a song that does not get enough credit. It doesn't get the credit that it deserves, but people should really be digging on that song even
more. Go ahead.
No, I agree with that too, because I think, to be honest with you, Mike loved rock music, to me. Like, because I feel like he brought that into who is it?
That's my jam.
That's my joint. That's my joint after Can't Let It Get Away. I love Who Is It. Like, I love it.
Song. It's a great song. It's a great build up. The keyboards, the spooky keyboards in the background. Mm-hmm. I just think that what Mike did rock in the past before that, it was almost like Michael Jackson rock. It was almost like, this is my idea of rock. We'll beat it. Here's my idea of rock. Even when Eddie Van Halen was on it. Dirty Diana, it's my idea of rock. This is still Mike rock. With that joint, it sounded like if you play that at a biker bar somewhere, somebody would like, oh man, I really like that song. Who's singing it? Michael Jackson? Okay. That's what it sounds like. Mm. And it just sounded like Mike really had even a better understanding of rock. And all those other things he did was great. I love Beat It. Not really a huge fan of Dirty Diana, but I love Beat It. I love the groundbreaking nature of it. But
see, Dirty Diana, like my favorite thing off of that. Just about my favorite thing off of that.
I can't do Dirty Diana.
I can't either.
I can do the build up for it. The build up is cool. When it's
I love it.
But the chorus really annoys me. That's what it is. The rest of the song I'm cool with. It's the chorus that just annoys me because it's just so.
I think, like you said, Keith, I think with Mike, with Give In to Me, I think, you know how people can come and be like a culture vulture, as they say.
Right.
And I think that Michael really understood what rock music was. You know what I'm saying? By the time he got to Dangerous.
Especially at that point.
Because before then, like you said, it sounded like he was making his own rock, to be honest. And then once he got to Dangerous, it was like, yo, I know what this is. You know what I'm saying? I want Slash to be able, hey, if he want to play this while they on tour, he can play this on stage and it still sounds as good as their stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I do agree, because it's a lot of people that can be culture vultures. Like, speaking of, wasn't Madonna supposed to be on In the Closet?
I think she was supposed to be involved with that project. She was actually supposed to be involved with a few projects, but her and Mike never really saw eye to eye beyond
at all.
These things that they were able to hang out together or whatever. Her and Prince were more a vibe, like they more got along.
I agree.
But yeah, like Mike was, like I said, he's the type of dude, like, get Eddie Van Halen on the phone, then get Steve Stevens, Billy Idol's guitarist on the phone, and now he's like, get Slash on the phone. Like, he understood what was popping at that time, rock wise, but it just sounds a lot more mature. This song sounds a lot more mature, a lot more hurt in it, a lot more serious. Like, I'm taking this a lot more serious than his previous rock works that he did.
and that's what I feel like the whole Dangerous album is anyway. I think this is when Michael is like serious, like really serious. Because the other albums was all about like love and this and that and that. And Michael was putting a lot of his personal into this. Like he like, yo, like it's shit going on in the world. It's even though he was inspired a lot by his sister, obviously. But I felt like he put a lot more of his feelings into it, like keep the faith. He got Sahita Garrett again. You know what I'm saying? He got her with the Man in the Mirror again. Then he got Gone Too Soon. And then he got all these songs, because we all know Michael like these big ass anthem ballads. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like y'all say, he wants, it's the military style. He wants everybody to sing along. He wants everybody to be down with you. So stuff like Heal the World and, you know what I mean? Will You Be There? These type of joints is like, I can have people singing along at the Super Bowl and everybody singing the words and all this.
Yeah, and I think that's the greatness of this album is that Mike took this album to the Super Bowl, right? He takes this to the Super Bowl.
Ooh, kill it.
Takes a lot of this aspects of it to the Super Bowl. He makes the Super Bowl relevant, and he's lip syncing. People don't really think about that. Like I always say, you know, when they always rank that as one of the greatest Super Bowl performances, I say no, it's more complex. It wasn't one of the greatest Super Bowls. It's the most important. It wasn't the greatest. It's important because it opened the door for everybody else to say, hey man, we could do this. We won't be a laughing stock. And Mike made the Super Bowl cool. He made it cool. He made it so artists of his caliber could do it. So yeah, when he was
a coveted thing.
Exactly. So he's standing there, you know, for like 20 minutes in silence while people are screaming, and he's doing all this military stuff, and then the Heal the World stuff, and you know, that's just part of, you know, that's part of Mike's thing, and he had to have that on an album, and I didn't really mind it this time around because it has so much to balance it.
Yeah, you said lip syncing. What Prince said, my microphone is on. I'm sorry.
So Keith, you gave me an idea of what I'm going to do for the word association today.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
You're the victim, but you inspired it. So I'm going to go through Michael Jackson albums, and you tell me the sleeper / kind of snob track on each of the albums. And why?
Smart you is kind of important.
You're annoying. So we'll start at you know.
Y'all really need to go on the road with each other, man. I swear to God. Take this on a road, you know. Just
no words of Dilla. Working on it.
I like that.
Let's do it.
We'll start at Off the Wall. What do you think is the sleeper or like the kind of snob, you know, music snob track?
Oh yeah, that's easy. I can't help it. I mean that song with Stevie. It's just such a beautiful song.
My favorite MJ
you
song.
Don't want it to stop. You just keep playing it. I don't know how many times I played that song over the years.
She's out of my life. At least probably would have been pissed.
I should have said it just to.
The bear. I'd have fought everybody in this motherfucker early.
Yeah, that's funny.
And Brian would have been happy too.
Okay, I'm not gonna start.
Don't do it. Don't you dare.
Thriller.
You know, I'm just gonna say PYT, Pretty Young Thing. It's like the black.
I know that one. I know that one.
It's like, it's the song that it is probably the most popular album cut ever. Like you can play that song and people think it's a single.
Yeah.
Right. That's how big that song is in terms of in the black community.
Yeah.
It's like one of those songs that's got a hold of black people.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Like there's a cutoff age with it. It is. But if you're anywhere from like 38 to like 50 something, that song's that this is it. That song has
All right. JR's favorite, Bad.
You tried it. Oh, you tried it. Oh, you tried it on this live. I'm about to fight everybody in this live. Yeah.
That's too bad.
You know, it's too bad. It's funny with this album. I think that the joint that I come back to in terms of, oh man, you really gotta listen to this. It's really cool what he's doing here. And it's always Liberian Girl. It's always that. That's the easy layup. But I really like Another Part of Me. And I like the live version more. Like the live video that they would show performing it.
Yes.
I like that version more because it's even more swingy, it's even more jumpy, it's even more propulsive, and he's like, oh man, he's got everything going. So it's pure Mike.
Because the live is faster, right?
Yeah.
The tempo is faster.
Live is faster. Yeah, the tempo is faster, and it's more aggressive. There's a lot more.
That's why I like that version better.
But there's a lot more passion in it too. So I always like those two songs. Those my like, oh man, you listening to that bad stuff? Listen to this. I always say that. But yeah, Mike was in his bag on those two songs for me.
Y'all sure it ain't Just Good Friends?
No, I will cut you. I think that it is one of the songs where you're like wondering to yourself, you get the cheesiest Stevie and you get the cheesiest Mike. Because both could be cheesy during that period. So you get, I Just Called to Say I Love You, Stevie, and then you get,
that's JR's favorite song.
You get,
you liar.
Oh wow, I'm pretty sure it is. And then you get like Bad the single, Michael Jackson.
I don't like y'all.
And then you put them together. You put them together and you get that song. That song, I used to laugh at my friend for liking that song. I was like, man, you really like this song? Bad song. And that's sacrilegious to say that, especially about Stevie. Like Stevie was Stevie didn't make a bad song, but Stevie started making some bad songs in the 80s. Wasn't as bad as people think it is, though. Like that, the N Square Circle album is still great. And,
I love that album.
I'm loving it now. I'm loving it now.
Talk to somebody about that album.
There's some great stuff on it. It's some great stuff.
Yeah,
I Just Called to Say I Love You, Stevie, man.
I don't have an after hit. What Kill said, if I'm in the elevator and I hear that song, he said, please let the elevator go all the way to the bottom.
I was actually in a grocery store when the song came on a couple of days ago. And I'm like shopping and I'm listening to it. And I start singing to it. And I'm like, that's what Stevie does. He makes these songs that even if you don't even like them, you're singing to him. And then you snap out of it when you get to the end when he goes cha cha cha. And you're like, this motherfucker. Like this is you just like, how dare you? How dare you, Stevie? How dare you rap me into this and then end it with a cha cha cha?
Because I can't stand that song, but I can sing you every lyric word for word and do every inflection.
Every lyric.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's like your mind is saying don't sing it, but then your heart is like sing away, man. Sing all those corny lyrics. Sing the no Halloween, no gifts to bring, all this like it. Just sing away.
Then you be like, fuck it, it's Stevie.
Yeah, it's Stevie.
right.
Like, come on, it's Stevie Wonder. Go ahead and sing. He gets the pass. Stevie gets the pass for a lot of stuff, man.
Yeah.
That's how it is. That's how it is.
That's true. That's true. Even though
gotta deal with it.
Yeah, like Quincy even was like, yeah, I fucked up with Just Good Friends. I fucked up. Yeah, I did.
Yeah. I mean, but that was part of Mike's corn thing. Mike could get a little corny with it, and that was a corn Mike showing a little bit. But yeah, I just think that those two other songs that I named, I just think that Mike was in his cool bag with that, and I think that especially when you get a chance to see what he does, some of the arrangements live. Because sometimes he had a habit of like performing the songs as they sounded on record and didn't really deviate too much from the songs, which kind of drove me a little nuts sometimes.
Yeah.
But a song like that, he really took it apart, put it back together again, and did something like really, really funky and upbeat.
Yeah.
All right. How about a sleeper / snob track? Because we already talked about Dangerous. How about Invincible?
Ooh.
See, that's an interesting one. I like the Heaven Can Wait song.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's an incredible song. Everybody's gonna run to Butterflies. But Butterflies is a great song, but it's not a sleeper because everybody likes that song. That's just
right.
Yeah.
That's the late Mike go-to song that everybody goes to. Everybody, oh, that's just vintage Mike. But yeah, Heaven Can Wait, man. Like the way it builds, you're wonderful, dun, 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 dun. Like, and he's building, then the chorus comes. And the chorus
him and Teddy again.
It's like, oh yeah, it's Teddy again.
Him and Teddy.
And the chorus just sounds like it's choir from heaven. And it's like you're listening to it and you're being absorbed by it. So to me, that is like great Michael Jackson. That is like I am still Michael Jackson, bitches. Don't ever forget about that. Yeah, that's what that song is saying. It's like, in case you've ever forgot who I am, listen to this shit and listen to what your favorite is doing right now. And at my peak, I'm still beating your favorite.
They were some competitive people, I tell you.
Really were.
And because of that, we got really great music because of that.
We really did.
Yeah.
I love
all them perfectionist alphas. Yeah.
Is oof. Oh my God. Yeah, because I think everybody would, you right, Keith, everybody would go to Butterflies for real. But like you said, if you listen to the album, that that ain't no sleeper, like
that's not
at all. Like
that's like they walked out of the studio on fire.
Right.
Butterflies might be in my top 5. It's definitely in my top 10 Michael Jackson.
It's in my top 10
Absolutely.
or top 11. It's in my
I
top 10
adore
or top
that
11.
song.
It's there somewhere. It's great.
Wow.
Like everything about it is, what it is? It's pure Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
It's about as pure you can get with Michael Jackson. Because even when the song was being produced, they understood we want Michael's soul on it. We're gonna get every Michael sound from vintage Mike's, and we're gonna listen to the Off the Wall album.
Right.
We're gonna listen to the Off the Wall album. And to us, that's vintage Mike. So what they did was they took vintage Mike off of that album and brought him into a new thing.
And honestly, Butterflies also sound like Little Mike.
It does. But
it has the same energy of a like I'll Be There type of song to me.
But we're
it
talking
gives me
about
that feeling.
We're also talking about sleepers and snob stuff, right?
Oh yeah, no, I agree with that.
That the Jay-Z remix for what's the song he did with Dark Child?
Rock My World.
Rock My World.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's Mike's greatest remix.
I agree.
That like I still marvel at that. I still marvel how it works. I'm still shocked I'm shocked that when Jay-Z comes on there, when Jay comes on there, how it works so beautiful, and how Mike is like having so much fun on it. He's talking shit on it, like
yeah,
like he's like I went that there, like and then he's coming, and it's just so cool because this is like the whole Track Masters period, the whole when everybody had to still have a remix, and it totally flips the original. It's just better than Rodney, he can do his thing.
Right.
Better than the original. And it just takes it to another level.
I agree.
That's another sleeper.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Even though I just love the beginning of You Rock My World, like just the beginning before, like when the beat in there and then Mike would just come in, Dog Child. Like it's just, and then after that, when the beat comes in, it's like whatever. But that remix, Ooh, I remember when I heard it, they played that on like Hot 97.
Yes.
And I heard it and I was like,
yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, Funkmaster Flex was throwing bombs over it. I remember that. I was like, when Flex is throwing bombs over a Michael Jackson song. You know,
right.
There's some other shit happening there. Like this is not your normal Michael Jackson song, you know. And so that whole period to me was up and down for him. But that song, man,
oh my God.
That's one of the greatest R&B remixes.
I agree.
Of all time.
I can agree.
Hip-hop
I can totally agree.
Man. I'm like, I don't even know how they pulled that off.
Well, Mike probably was like, look, nigga, I done came to Summer Jam for you. You owe me.
Yes, exactly. I was on the screen. Motherfuckers was going crazy when they saw my face. So you better come.
You better come with it. Give me something. Yeah. Give me something for real.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Oh God, this is so dope. But it's always dope when we talk to you. So
yes,
that's a foregone conclusion.
Yes.
But
yes,
very dope. This was fun.
Yeah, I was so hyped for this. Oh,
yeah.
Me and Elise was texting while I was at work all day.
Listen, this is a cool little period of history, and it's cool to just talk about Mike coming back, and it's cool to talk about Teddy being appreciated for the greatness of great artist, great producer that he is, and I just think that during that whole period, just for him to even have a massive, hit like this in Black terms,
right?
It was really cool to me. That's cool in his catalog. It looks cool, sounds cool. So I'm just happy that he did it. I'm happy to even talk about
it. That's what I felt like too. I felt like Michael came back. It was that off the wall feeling that we got again, and it was like, but he did it,
and it didn't feel forced
in the era that
modern way.
Right, it didn't feel fake.
Yeah. Cause he's like, no, I'm gonna bring out this, like we said at the top, we bring this blacker than black ass video, like this for y'all. Cause that's for us.
Exactly.
Yeah,
that's for us.
That's why he was at every Black award, the Soul Train.
Oh yeah. It's so funny. Him and Prince and Whitney to be truthful.
Yeah.
They started like showing up at everywhere, man. Like, Prince was like the Soul Train Awards, just rocking out, like
couldn't get their asses 4 or 5 years ago, couldn't get their asses the Soul Train for nothing.
Yeah. It was like they saw the handwriting on the wall. They understood what was happening. Black Zeitgeist was just too big. It was too mammoth to not ignore when SWV is on a pop chart. Like, you want to try to ignore that, but you don't want to do that.
You can't.
You just can't ignore when like Tony Braxton's killing it. And Mariah Carey's like, get ODB on the phone. Like, it's like, come on, like you just can't ignore any of that stuff.
Yeah.
That happened. So people they understood what was going on.
Yeah.
So, what do you have going on coming up? Or, Princey, he the real star. What he got popping?
Yeah, that's the star. That's
he's bugging me right now. He's out here like, oh, come on. So yeah, I just did a piece for the LA Times on Kid Cudi interview with him that was really cool. And I'm working on some stuff for People Magazine, and trying to work on some stuff for Vibe, and I'm just keeping myself busy, just trying to keep up with y'all, getting cosigns from like Jimmy Jam and shit.
Oh God, it's about you, not us.
I'm not you, JR. I'm not getting cosigns and shit like that.
Oh God.
I'm good. I'm doing my best.
And then you gonna ride with her? Okay, I see you, Keith. I see what this is.
Yeah, I'm sitting over here eating my food. I'm just
listen.
Whatever, no, because you started it.
Please get that dude on there someday, man. Whenever y'all get that dude on there,
Keith, I've been trying. I've been pulling. I've been trying to do it.
Like, man,
it's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You hear that, Mr. Jam? Our public wants you.
Also, I think y'all really need to go after Michael Walden.
I would love to talk to him.
just to get a point of view of the crossover aspect of R&B and the arrows that he took for Whitney and everybody that he liked.
That would be dope.
It's really deep, the stuff that he was doing behind the scenes. You know, it's like, man, that whole Whitney era. I'm writing about Whitney right now, for people doing something about, you know, man, like she was going through some things.
Ooh, that would be dope to talk to him though.
You hear that, Narada Michael Walden?
I would try to get my man's contact. I think I interviewed him once. Maybe I
You did.
hook y'all two up.
You talked to him the last time you talked to us. You
Yeah,
talked to him right after. We remember. The North remembers.
Oh yes.
Oh yeah, that's right. That he did. I forgot.
Yeah. But yeah, he's a real cool dude, man. He's you know, like I said, I didn't really love everything that he was doing with Whitney, but I understood the thought process. I got what they were going for, you know. So it's a really, really interesting, smart conversation to have with him to understand what was happening, because you know he was involved with Aretha's comeback too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And he understood what to do with that. He didn't give her a pure Whitney on that. He gave her Aretha update, you know.
Right.
You know, Freeway of
Right.
Love and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, it's interesting stuff.
Yes. Well, again, we thank you and you know our R&B Reps mascot Princey there for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a star.
Yeah.
And we thank our lovely viewers for hanging out with us. And we will catch y'all on the next Catch That.
Peace.